Davo, you said something there which really clicked with me. Having something to start with first. You know, having our guiding principles that we've created our foundations of. That's our knowledge. That's our conscious awareness. And what's really beautiful now is that we can transition across to that subconscious state. As you said, we create the habits, we create the reactions that when things aren't necessarily going our way, we haven't had time to eat, we haven't slept much because of the industry we're in. You know, my daughter's been up all night crying, and I love her dearly, but I've got to get to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, some of my clients haven't paid on time and there's not enough. All these things that happen in business isn't going to affect the way I produce an effective outcome, because my subconscious, my peace, my love for me, and my trust in what I do and how I act is going to be a constant. It's going to be a consistent manner in which my clients are going to always feel very positive about.
And that becomes your process.
Absolutely.
Your process is your way of being.
So don't think that what you've learnt from here has to be that way all through your journey. It's just purely the permission for you to start learning now, isn't it, mate?
And it allows you to transfer.
Yes.
It allows you to draw on things, you know. And this is the art of any industry, of personal training, of medicine, of horse racing.
Yeah.
There's an art that goes with the science. Yeah. There's technique, but there's also the finesse that carries the technique, and it becomes your individual way of doing things. Yeah. And your way of doing things, obviously, is going to be the path of least resistance for yourself. You know, so considering perspectives of yourself, who you're working with, and then the broader perspective of what's the environment that this is actually placed in. Is this a clinical environment? Is this a wellness environment? Is this an educational environment?
Is it a play environment? Is it a movement? So as you say, all these things,
that does affect the decision, and the decision making means that there's some sort of a process with it. If you're in a leadership position, your role, regardless of what your background is to put on a hat where you're leading the process. And people do expect a degree of leadership. They don't expect definitive decisions. What they do expect is some sort of accountability with the decision and some movement forward. So to include someone in the process allows you to both take ownership of it, and it can open perspectives. To be directive and dictatorial, it can have a wonderful outcome. You're considered to be a visionary and a directive person if it goes well, but otherwise you're considered to be impulsive and a fraud. You know, so and it's important to buy into that middle ground.
And David, that's beautifully put, because that dictatorship, which we've all known people who have been brilliant in what they've done, and they've had that sort of characterisation, not because their intention was to hurt or to be egotistical, but that's how they knew. They weren't adaptable to mould.
And you think to yourself, like, hang on, am I included in this?
Yes,
you know?